Hi, my name is Robin Wong. I'm a photographer based in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I have with me the Panasonic 14-140 Super Zoom lens. In this video, I want to talk about if this one lens is good enough to do it all. Let's do this! I've talked about this Panasonic 14-140 f4-5.8 Super Zoom lens before. I'll put a link to the video up here. Please check it out if you have not done so. This video is a continuation from that previous video. I brought this Super Zoom lens out for several more shooting sessions. If you know me, you know that I am a prime lens shooter. I don't use zoom lens a lot, but I admit in certain situations, a super zoom lens like this could be a better solution. I actually went to a mini concert. I was seated at a fixed position. I wasn't the hired photographer, so I can't move around. And I was shooting the entire show using this Panasonic 14-140 Super Zoom lens on my Olympus EM1. So here are some of my shots. Having used this Super Zoom lens to shoot the mini concert at Kuala Lumpur Performing Arts Centre as an audience in a fixed sitting position, I gotta say there are some things that I really love about this Super Zoom lens. Number one, I really treasure the convenience. Usually I will shoot with several prime lenses. I don't mind changing lenses because they give me the best results, and in low light performance, I appreciate the brighter aperture of these prime lenses, and I do want to do my best and deliver the best possible results for my clients. But hey, in this particular scenario, I wasn't doing a professional paid shoot. I was just an audience, and having a lens that can do it all and I don't have to going through the hassle of changing lenses, man, the versatility of this lens and the convenience, I really appreciate it. Number two, many composition options. Now, as a hired professional, I get to move around. I can go near, go far, I can go to the left, I can even step up on the stage to get my shots. But hey, I'm not paid to do this particular shoot. I was attending as an audience, so being in a fixed position, I can't move around, right? So having a super zoom lens gives me a variety of options of compositions, wide angle to establish the location, to get the overall view of the stage, and I can zoom in really close to one particular performer and close up of their facial expression to have that drama and impact in my photograph. Reason number three why I really love this super zoom lens is the compact size. The lens is so small and it's so light, and for such a small sized lens, I was actually surprised that it has such a massive zoom range from 14mm at the widest end, and it goes all the way to 140mm at the longest telephoto reach. I can certainly do a lot with such a compact setup. Reason number four, the lens handles really well, especially when it's paired on my Olympus OMD EM1 original, the handling is just right. The lens feels comfortable in hand. Even when I zoom all the way to the longest end, 114mm, I have no issue stabilizing the shot whatsoever. The handling feels balanced. Everything just feels good. I don't feel any strain on my wrist, elbow, anything. I think this lens, I really appreciate that it is so small, and that's what Micro Four Thirds should be. And finally, reason number 5. I'm actually very happy with the image quality coming out from this lens. The sharpness, the contrast, the lens manages to produce beautiful images throughout the entire zoom range from the widest angle all the way to the longest telephoto. And yes, this lens is not the sharpest for Micro Four Thirds lenses. If I want the best of the best image quality, I will use, say, the Olympus 40-150 f2.8 Pro. I will use Olympus 75 f1.8 Pro. I will use Olympus 12-40 f2.8 Pro. But hey, those are already what, 3 lenses? And this one lens can cover the entire zoom range of those lenses and still deliver really good results. Besides shooting mini concert images, I also brought this Panasonic 14-140 super zoom lens out on the streets to do some shutter therapy. So here are some street photography images. I hope you guys enjoy them. While I do treasure the convenience of using a super zoom lens, it is so small and so compact, and it is one lens to do all solution. I don't have to go through the hassle of changing lenses. I got to admit, there are some disadvantages of using a super zoom lens. Number 1, the aperture is not bright enough, especially when dealing with low light shooting conditions. In the mini concert, it was fairly low light environment. I found myself having to bump up the ISO to 3200, 6400. That's because at the longest telephoto range of this lens, the aperture goes down to f5.8, and that is very dark. If I was using prime lenses, say the 45 f1.8, 75 f1.8, I can get away with lower ISO numbers, say ISO 1600 or ISO 800 or even lower. That will definitely improve my image quality. Number 2, the autofocus performance on this lens is also affected because of the darker aperture. Now, shooting at f5.8, the lens or the camera has less light to deal with. Less light equals less data. So prime lenses with brighter aperture like f1.8 or f1.2, it can gather more light, and this can give the camera more information to process. Hence, this will speed up the process of the autofocus, and you can get much faster and reliable autofocus, especially in low light shooting situations. I do find this lens to struggle a little bit in the darker shooting areas in that mini concert that I was shooting. And finally, number 3, the disadvantage of using a super zoom lens. There's nothing to shout about when you look at the image quality. Yes, the images come out sharp, the contrast is decent, everything looks okay, but it does not give you the wow factor. The images don't have that punch, it doesn't give you that impact, it doesn't have that 3D rendering, it doesn't look anything more. There's just nothing to write home about when looking at the images. I know we shouldn't compare. This super zoom lens is not exactly a pro grade lens, and there's a higher pro grade lens to definitely give you much better rendering, but I'm just saying there's always a compromise when you use a super zoom lens, and I did not expect the super zoom lens to outperform higher grade lenses, but for what it is, for the convenience that I had for handling such a small lens, one lens to do it all, generally I'm still very happy with the results. can certainly understand the appeal of having a super zoom lens. Convenience definitely sells. If I can just use one lens to do everything, why bother changing lenses? But the reality is that there will be some compromises. You do lose image quality. This lens, a super zoom lens, will never be as sharp as pro-grade lenses or dedicated prime lenses. And because the aperture is darker, you do need to use higher ISO numbers, which in turn will compromise when it comes to image quality. I understand in some situations, super zoom lenses can be the best solution. In a place where you cannot change lenses, for example, when you're shooting in a dusty environment, or if you're only allowed to bring one lens for whatever reasons, then the super zoom lens is definitely the best solution. It maximizes the potential of you getting more shots. Well, there is no one perfect lens. Every choice or every preferences will come with its own advantages and disadvantages. You just have to choose what works best for you and in that particular shooting scenario. That's all I have to say about my experience using a super zoom lens, and I believe that it can be a great solution. If you're not shooting for a client, you don't need the best possible image quality, and you understand some of the compromises that comes with the convenience of using a super zoom lens, then I believe it can be a good solution. Do you agree with my thoughts? Do share your opinion in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. If you've enjoyed watching this video, if you have found my sharing beneficial, please consider buying me a cup of coffee, or you can contribute directly to my PayPal. Links in the description below on how I can do that. Any small contribution goes a long way. It will definitely help me to continue making more content. Until the next one, please go out and take more photographs. Bye-bye.